On my way back to Brunswick from the Meadows. Chilly day, very, very chilly. They slid one by me too, put me in race 12, number 9, after I was done in race 8. Now, an angry me would have just booked off and went home. That's kind of rude to the person that put you down, and I know that obviously if they listed me on a horse in the 9th race, in the 12th race with the 9 hole, obviously maybe there wasn't a lot of people available. I'm not sure. We'll chalk that up under character building, as they say. So a bit of a slow day. We didn't have a lot, didn't get anything done. I'll tell you what, wish I'd have taken a video of how much snow there was at Northfield Park. They were still digging out. They never even had, don't worry about jogging. We had to wait to jog, and they did jog. So I appreciate the extra effort at the barn today. There wasn't that much snow in Brunswick, but there was a lot at Northfield Park. And as I said this morning, I'm not going to complain because it didn't really start coming down heavy until after the races. So no complaints there. So an easy day at the barn. I went over to the Meadows. Jason sent some horses to Southern Ohio to race. Now, I'll start with the Southern Ohio horses. Now, Save America just raced good. Looked like he was in a spot behind 2 long shots where he could get the win, but they did go 150. And I'm pretty sure they were maybe just a tiny bit ill-equipped cork-wise to race today, and that is no one's fault. I don't get to blame anybody because, as I said in my video this morning, I knew at 9 a.m. they were heading towards a track that might be a little icier. They all had boreum on. Now, boreum, I mean just a little line of boreum on their toes, but they did not have 4 winter corks on each foot. And I suspect if you ask King Kaufman, for the first 2 anyway, he'll tell you that that's exactly what had happened with them. See, when you race horses like that, I've been driving a long time, and I've raced every time there's a first freeze. You will be driving horses that are a little ill-equipped, and when you've got a real good hold of them and they got their feet under them, they don't feel that bad. It's when you go to release them and you ask them to step forward, they can't function. I don't think that Patrick LaPrana is going to be able to race with flip-flops on all winter on a harder track. That's not going to happen. He needs to have full swedges on. If we have to put some added support, maybe a rim pad or something, fine. I don't think he's going to get through an icy hard track with, or get a hold of an icy hard track with flip-flops on. I just don't. When it came to Rock Shining Star, perfect example. In the last turn, I'm sitting there watching the race with Ronnie Wren and Aaron Merriman. And Ronnie said, I like this horse. He's clearly going to win. And here's a horse that finished up strong his whole life. Always a pretty good competitor. Come to that lane, they move him over where he's going to win. He puts a couple of steps in when he goes to step forward, and then he flattens out and is kind of a very weak third. It's not from preparation. I guarantee you the horse wasn't sick. I guarantee you when he went to ask him to go forward, that's when you start to see them slip a little bit more. You don't notice it until then. And but again, I'm not coming on here to say, oh, Jason should have done this or I should have done that. I made it very clear this morning at 9 a.m. that I had my concerns about not having additional grab on, but that I thought because they hadn't had a chance to really freeze the ground in Dayton, that if they just dug the track up with the boreum, the lines of boreum we had on their feet, that they'd be okay, and I'm pretty sure they weren't, right? I can't really say that Save America, I mean, they went 150 flat. It's not like, oh my God, he was terrible. No, he wasn't. He raced good. But I'm pretty sure the culprit is simply the fact that, and here's the other thing, you go down, put all that grab on today, you got to take it all off, because for the next 2 weeks it looks like it's anywhere from -1 Celsius to +4, which is not really cork weather. So it's never good to have too much cork, it's never good to have not enough cork, and it's really hard to find that comfort level in the medium. So it is what it is. We had 2/3 and a no good today. We'll see if maybe there's something that Patrick LaPrana can fit at the Meadows or back in Dayton if we're going down there again this week, next week with the 3 horses. I know that Jason has some concerns when Miami Valley starts. It's even further down. I want to say another 30 or 40 minutes down the road. So shipping 4 hours would be mildly concerning. we'll see how that plays out and what we do moving forward. Listen, we have a 5-horse trailer, and there's usually people from the Northfield area racing too, so carpooling and trailer pooling might be an option also for us. So we'll see how that plays out, but for today, I'm fairly certain I know what the culprit was in Dayton. I knew about it hours ago. We decided to roll the dice and hope that was enough grab, and I'm pretty sure it just simply wasn't. Nobody's fault. We made an informed decision, and I believe rolled a 7. No, we didn't roll 7. We 2/3 and a no good. I think we can turn that into 3 very goods next week. Now, as it goes with the 2 in the Meadows, very, very disappointed with Insider Trading's performance today. I was so excited. This was the first time she left off the car in a qualifier with no hobbles on at Northfield. At the start of the year she did. But aside from that qualifier, I don't think she's ever left off the car. And I could have been up the corner in 28 seconds with her today. I don't think she was slipping, although open-toed shoes is not at all even remotely preferable for this type of track. They did have cork on, and just raced terrible. Terrible race. As I said to my partners, that's it. She will not race next week. We will start prepping her for the December 17th sale in Mount Hope. That will be her last start for us, and then on to being a broodmare. If somebody wants to race her for the next couple of months in Dayton or the Meadows or wherever, so be it. She's sound, but that's it for racing for us. And I know there's going to be people say, well, can we just not try her one more time, maybe change something? Nothing will be changed. She is going to the barn. She is going to Dublin Valley as soon as I can get her out there. Ready for landing. You know, I'm really happy with the way this horse is behaving lately. Came into the gate. He went into the gate great. I was in no hurry to get to the front. Right line a little harder than usual today, and the track was hard. Now, Tim said he had borium nails on them. Were they enough to get a hold of the track with the pin bars he has on up front? I could say no. It doesn't really matter. It's neither here nor there. The race is over. Not the first time I've seen him race flat. Now, I make front with him, and I was 3 wide for the first part of the first turn. I'm happy to let Ronnie go. But as I let Ronnie go, he looks back at me like, you come back around. Well, I look over, he's 9-2. He's really taken a hold of his horse at that point, and I'm like, well, if he really doesn't want to be on the front end, Hunter's parked. I'm not really worried about anybody other than this point. I just don't want to get in trouble. I like what Ready for Landing is doing, but if I'm stuck behind a stalling horse, am I going to get myself in trouble? As it turns out, I wish I'd been able to run it back and do it again, because I really did not want to remove. But Ronnie looked again at the start of the turn like, hey, are you coming? All right, fine. Out I come. It wasn't a very taxing move, and I was happy with the way that the race had went. Nobody challenged it. Hunter was a non-factor at any point. I saw that Aaron was about to flip 4 wide coming out of the turn. My only danger is Ronnie's horse okay and Aaron out there. They're the only 2 concerns to me. I called on Ready for Landing, a little bit flat and running in the last turn. I'd asked him after, what we generally do for vet work on him. He said hind ankles and front feet. He just shot him, but maybe his ankles might be bothering him a little bit. We come out of the last turn, he's running in, we straighten him out. He trots, but again, with that open bridle on, he's so good right now, but the negative side of that is there's less of a sense of urgency on the front end. I don't think he really cares if he wins by head or he wins by 5 lengths. And the problem is that there was a horse way out there that was going to run him down, and there's just nothing I can do. He was off 2 weeks, wasn't at his very best today, and as it turns out, I would have been more happy sitting right in the 2-hole and staying there. Just during the race, watching the body language of Ronnie, it just seemed to me he did not want to be on the front with that horse. I'm 1-5. Probably the place to be. So we got run down as a favorite, but still very happy with the way he raced, and as a horse, his maturity is impressive. Although it's hard to explain that when you're getting beat from the outside by a double-digit to 1 horse. There's lots of racing ahead for Ready for Landing, and I'm just so glad that he's starting to understand how to race. If only I could. Anyway, not a bad day. A first 2/3 Insider trading was poor, and it's so frustrating, to think back of the filly that was at 2. And sometimes they don't come out as good as you want at 3. Maybe they're no better at 3 than they were at 2. She's not even remotely close to the filly she was at 2. Now she's bigger. And is it just a number of things? I have no idea. I wish I could tell you that. I don't know. But she does carry some hefty worth, as it turns out. She's a sister to JL Cruz, and I think she'll do very well for us at the sale. Nobody's going to get crushed, but at the same time, the only thing being crushed will be our dreams of the filly and what she could have been, because it is very disappointing to try and look back at what she was at 2, extrapolate what she could have been at 3, and then look at the total body of work that was today, and it's very, very frustrating. But that's horse racing. So the Patrick DePerano race, I would bet any one of my fingers or toes happily that was the problem with him. We'll simply go to Winter Cork because it is winter time. We'll go to Winter Cork next week, and whether he races him at Dayton, even Dayton, Northfield, or the Meadows, I suspect he'll be in the hunt. So that is it for us for today. We had a second, 2/3, and a flat race from Patrick DePerano. Horrible race in the field. Could have been worse, but definitely could have been a lot better. We'll aim for better tomorrow. On the docket for tomorrow, we have Yo Mister racing at Dayton. We'll see how that goes. Tenacious Hanover, Spitfire Overseas, and Drebin. If you were going to put my feet to the fire on this, I'd say Drebin is our best shot, even with post 8. Spitfire Overseas is probably in the hunt. Yo Mister, what's his odds? Yo Mister, 8-1, so he's up against it. And Tenacious Hanover, I just hope we get a trip with him. I'll find a good spot for this guy to start racing. It just feels like we got him in just a little tougher than we need to. We'll see if we can't remedy that next week. So with that, I'll let you go. Have a wonderful rest of your night, all 6 hours and 9 minutes of it. I will talk to you all tomorrow morning.